Well, so first of all, I just want to welcome all of you to this fabulous training that we've got lined up for you tonight. Erin has really poured herself into this training and done a lot of work to prepare. So Erin, we just appreciate you so much for doing this for us. I know we're all going to learn so much from you tonight. And I want to just tell you a little bit about this amazing lady that's going to be training you tonight. It was in the information that I sent out originally, but there was a lot there, so I don't want to get this lost. And so she started with her company in August of 2016, and she was doing exclusively online parties for the first 6 months. And while she's done a handful of home parties, she really built her business on Facebook parties like so many of you have. And then she kind of ran into a little glitch there that I know she's going to tell you about, and that's really where this mega party came about. But let's hear a little bit of her results at this company that she's with, 31 Gifts. She highest ranked executive director. She was on the Presidential Advisory Council because she was #2 in the company for team building in 2018 and 19. You know, and I have worked with 31 Gifts people for so many years that I really know what an honor some of these events that you were a part of were, Erin, because you had to really work hard to qualify for them. She was on Leadership Council, #22 in the company for personal volume in 2018 and 19. Presidential Advisory Council for being #4 in the company for developing business director bonuses, which means promoting direct leaders to herself or having those direct leaders change rank. And then Leadership Council #11 in the company for personal volume at over $100,000 in 2019 and 20. And also, which was amazing, Leadership Council for being #7 in the company for team building in 2021. She's earned every single incentive trip at the highest level that they even offer since the day she started. And so $100,000, 1920, and then in this last year, these were her stats. And I said, you know, what's the difference between that 100,000 in 1920 to the 40,480, which is still ridiculously good. And this past year, she said, well, you know, I moved to the beach life and I cut down from 2 mega parties a month to 1. So a little bit of difference there, but still amazing results for 1 party a month. So 72 parties in 20, you know, counting all the hostesses together there. There was 515 guests, an average of 7 guests per party. How many of you would love to have an average of 7 guests per party, especially with Facebook? 515 orders, average number of orders per party, 7, and an average of $725 in volume per party, which is crazy good. I mean, my clients that I hear from anyway, average somewhere around 150 and 300 in their Facebook parties. So that's really stellar, Erin. And then a total of $40,480 in total volume for 2020. So Erin, I just wanted to tell them a little bit about how amazing you are before I turned it over to you, but I don't want to take any more time, and we're all just really excited to hear from you anyway. So go ahead.
Thank you, Sherry. It's so funny. I hope that you all have the experience someday of somebody reading off all the things that you do, because you're not thinking about it when you're doing it. So it's so fun to hear about hearing somebody else read it through. Wow. So all of that happened on Facebook, and the majority of it happened like 4 of the 4.5 years through using these mega parties. So to put together this training and to be able to bring this to you all, I'm super excited. I am going to share my screen because I am a former teacher and I do much better with the PowerPoint. So it'll keep me on task and make sure that I cover, first of all, everything that I want to cover, but also that I don't squirrel, because I tend to do that a little bit. That said, I have absolutely no problem. If you have questions along the way, pop into the chat. I think I'll see a little bubble come up, but if not, Sherry can certainly kind of stop me and let me know, because I definitely would prefer to cover your questions when they come to mind, or let you know that the answer is coming soon. So we're talking personal volume mega party. So some of you may have gone to the mega party For your team training, I think that was last week or the week before. Similar approach, except for instead of your team being in your party, it is all your hostesses in one big party. So you heard all of the things that I've accomplished in my company, but just a little bit more about me. I started in 2016 with direct sales, a little bit skeptical, but I was doing some really big fundraising. And so I started honestly just to use the 25% commission that we got towards my fundraising. Never imagined that just a year later I would retire from teaching, and 4 years later, I would move to the beach and live the beach life. So that was kind of my big goal. And here I am. And as Sherry said, once I got to the beach, I went ahead and kind of took my foot off the gas a little bit and went down to just one party, one of these mega parties a month. And the reason that mega parties became a thing for me is I was still teaching at the time and I was using Cinch Share, but I had big goals. So I was booking 7 to 10 hostesses per week, which meant 7 to 10 individual parties. And I was using Cinch Share, and I was putting those Cinch Share posts about 3 minutes apart. And if any of you have ever been in Facebook jail, you know that can be a real problem when you're putting your posts that close together. So I got put in Facebook jail a lot. So I'm a problem solver. And I had been doing one of the things that I had done to make my life a little bit easier is I love to go live in my parties, and I was going live from my business page so that I could feed it into all of the different groups. And so I was already being kind of generic in my live, as in not using the hostess's name, not talking about anything specific like that, because in my party, I was telling my story, showing my products, and offering solutions regardless of who their hostesses are. And in a Facebook party, nobody really knows who else is in the party anyway. So I'd already had some experience about or with making my live a little bit generic like that. So I thought, light bulb went off. Instead of doing 7 to 10 separate groups, let's throw all these people in the same group. And the mega party was born. So I'm actually going to talk to you today about how you can find your first mega party hostesses, how you can convert your current script to a mega party script, or if you don't have a script that you love, I'm going to walk you through kind of the framework of my script because it works and I love it. But if you already have a script that works for you, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to convert your script to a mega party script. And then we're going to talk about building relationships, because let's be honest, that is the most important part. Because you may have heard, yes, I did well with personal volume, but I also have ranked in the company in team building and developing leaders. And that happens in the relationship building, not in the posts that happen in the group. So I definitely want to make sure we cover how, when you've got these big, massive groups, how you're still going to be able to build relationships with your hostesses and with those guests. And then ask your questions throughout, but also we'll have some question and answer time at the end. So let's start with finding your first mega party hostesses. Some of this is going to sound exactly like your company tells you to do to find any hostesses. You're going to make a list. 31 tells us to make a list of 62. We offer up the idea of Franks, your friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids connections, and spouse connections. So use those things to help you remember. But seriously, when you sit down, make sure that you have a list of people that you're going to ask. Think of your past hostesses. If you're not new and you have past hostesses, these ladies have already done a Facebook party with you. So it will be easy for you to transition them into this idea of, hey, remember how we were in a group before with just you and your friends, and maybe it got a little quiet and you had to beg people to interact? Imagine if we had a bunch of hostesses together, more people interacting, more fun to be had. So past hostesses are a great group to bring in as your first mega party hostesses. Then set a goal. So I already told you that my goals at the time, my big scary goals, were to have 7 to 10 hostesses per week. So what I was doing at the time was throwing in 7 to 10 hostesses as my goal. Oh, I do see the chat. Yay, it did pop up. We hear, yes, Frank is so good, but how many of us have done one recently? Nobody ever does them, do them, right? And yes, this is being recorded. I think maybe Sherry has already answered that. Okay, so when the reason I say set a goal is I want you to make it non-negotiable. So maybe your first mega party, you want to start with 4. One of my team members was scared to death, so she started with 2. Whatever it is, set yourself a goal and get your ask on, meaning ask until you have that number. You all know the statistics. You're going to hear no 10 times for every one yes. So set yourself up for however many hostesses you want. And P.S., hosting is not asking. So hopefully my head is not blocking that statement, because if you write nothing else down tonight, posting is not asking is probably the most important thing that you can learn. We call it the post and pray method on my team. It doesn't work. So make sure you're actually reaching out, having one-on-one conversations. So what do you say? You're used to asking, right, for your regular parties. Uh-oh, okay, I'm like, I lost control of the PowerPoint. I'm good. You're used to asking for your regular hostesses. You probably have some words to say in terms of, I'm having a party on Facebook. You get great rewards. The hostess special for this month is, all of those things still work. It's the letting them know ahead of time that they're going to be in a group with other hostesses that becomes important. You don't want them finding out day one of the Facebook party that they're in a group with 7 other hostesses. That's not great relationship building. So let them know right when you ask. And here's some tips. Call it a battle of the hostesses. That's pretty clear, right? That there's going to be more than one hostess. That's how I did my first one. That's how a lot of my team members do their first one, is by doing a battle of the hostesses. And when you're asking, it actually becomes a little bit easier to ask too, because you're letting them know maybe the one that gets the most orders is going to get something special from your stash. Or maybe the one that has the highest volume is going to get extra credit towards product. Whatever it is that you want to offer, you can make it a little competitive. Battle of the hostesses makes it super clear. You can also do a theme party, and that makes asking lots of fun. So coming up with a theme. And so especially now that I'm doing my parties just 1 per month, and I always do it the second week of the month, obviously my theme has to do with the month. So in February, I did a Galentine's Day party. In January, we were all about keeping cozy warm. So every single month, I pick a theme. So that works really well for me now that I have passed my first one. And then another kind of phrase, and this is what I use in my description a lot, is I call it a block party. So instead of just a one hostess party, we're having a block party where, just like, I don't know, we had block parties where I grew up where every family invited all the neighborhood, not just the neighborhood though, right? Like I invited my friends from outside of the neighborhood. It was one big block party. So those are all words that give your hostesses kind of the indication that, hey, you're not going to be here all on your own, and it's going to be so much more fun because we're going to have so many more people doing this party. So now let's talk about the Facebook party framework. And so, like I said at the beginning, if you have a party that works for you, I am not here to talk you out of your script if it works for you. I'm going to talk you through my script. Maybe you'll see some things that you like that you want to add to yours, or maybe you hate your script and totally want to start over. You can use this as a framework that has worked for me. It's been the exact same framework literally for 4.5 years. So I can tell you it works. First of all, I do it in a private group always. Some people do public. I find private seems to work better with algorithms. And I use group instead of events because I do need to be able to schedule. even in the beach life, I need to be able to do this again with lots of scheduling ahead of time. The next thing is that I do an announcement in the post before I ever add a hostess or a guest. I want them to see something when they come into the group, besides the description and the cover photo. I'm going to show you my announcement post later because it has a lot to do with the relationship building part of it. I do my parties as 4 days of party posts. I like Tuesday through Friday. It's what works best for me and seems to work pretty well for my guests as well. And then I don't close the party until Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday are just reminder posts. On Tuesday through Friday, I have an 8 a.m. post each day planting seeds. And what I mean by that is if you've done any other training, they talk to you about planting seeds for recruiting, planting seeds for hosting parties. All of those get dropped early in the morning. My thought process here is everybody gets up in the morning and starts scrolling through Facebook, but not a lot of people are interacting at that point of the day. So I want them to see it, not necessarily asking for lots of interaction on it. I just want like the billboard on the side of the room. Just kind of want to plant that seed. And I'm going to show you the samples of mine in the next slide. At 11:31, because I work for 31, but anytime around lunch is when I do an interactive post. This is definitely where I'm looking to increase algorithms. So something that's going to ask them to participate. And then the evenings, I do 3 posts each night, except my live night. And I will talk a little bit more about my live in a few slides. So that's kind of the basic framework. I see a few of you taking notes. I don't want to go too quickly. That's the one nice thing about like in class, right? I can walk around and see who is caught up in the notes. You can screenshot too. It should work. I love it, Sandra. Okay, so here are my 4 8 o'clock posts. I literally just took screenshots of these straight out of my most recent party. So on the very first day, I post pictures of my family and I tell my story. So I'm going to tell it again in the live, but not everybody's going to watch the live. So this is my elevator speech. If I was doing a home party, this is how I introduce myself. I talk about my fundraising. I talk about the great trips that I've been on and all the free bags and all the great sisterhood, right? Because again, I'm planting the seeds. So in this one post, I cover it all. Free product, making money, moved to the beach, retired from teaching, all covered in that one post. So that's my Tuesday post. My Wednesday post, like I said, I started doing this for fundraising. So our philanthropic outreach is very important to me. So that is my seed planting on Wednesday morning. I want to make sure that everybody that orders for my party will do a roundup. And so I definitely drop that seed early in the party. Then I do, this is called bag lady math because I'm showing that the kit is such a better deal than buying just the one bag that you want. So this is my dropping the seed on joining the group or joining my team. And that's on Thursday. And then on Friday, because people say yes on Fridays, is when I drop the seeds on hosting. So 8 o'clock, again, the wording is, standard wording, but not asking for a ton of interaction in my 8 o'clock posts. My interactive posts, however, I want them interacting. These posts help my algorithms. It's lunchtime. People tend to be interacting more and it gets them thinking. So this is again in order. So I guess down and over. So very first day, just want them interacting. So I'm even giving, hey, use emojis. You don't have to, don't be nervous. You don't have to actually say anything just yet. So I give them the opportunity to just use emojis and interact, talking about, how well they know 31. And then right away the next day, ask me about my job. Because the best thing I have to sell and the best thing you have to sell is the opportunity. And you want them thinking about it early. So, ask me about my job is my day 2 lunchtime post. And they get lots of points for asking me questions. They get multiple points for asking multiple questions. Then the next day, so remember this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I use the dice game from Amanda Todd to book my next month or two, depending on how my calendar looks. And so that is a great game. If you don't know anything about it, I'm pretty sure Sherry's got it on her website, and definitely you can get it from Amanda Todd as well. And then by Friday, I've already had them thinking about joining. I've hopefully already got them signed up to host. So this one's just another one to, and this one changes from month to month. So this one I said you want a free trip. Only catch is you can travel to a destination that starts with the same letter as your first name. You know how people just love to play those little games. So this is definitely just a matter of getting my algorithms up. So not necessarily asking them to do anything other than respond. But of course, these great travel bags, if they are traveling soon, it's another chance for them to see those. So those are my interactive posts to get those algorithms up so that when I come back in the evening, they will see my products, which really that's what I want them to see. Okay, see chat bubble. Do you give prizes for the game? For the dice game, I do. So if you have seen the dice game, each envelope includes different prizes. So I do a prize for the dice game, or the prizes that go with the dice game, but then I also do party points. And I'm going to cover that here in a minute, actually, in the relationship building part. I think it's on one of my slides. But I do offer points for commenting, for ordering, for hosting, for joining, and I actually keep track of it, which I know not everybody does. But listen, I'm doing one party a month. So I can take the time to actually count, and I'll show you the post that I put up that shows them that I'm actually counting, and it helps so much with getting them to comment. So I actually, because these are big groups, like my February group had 74 members, so I did 3 prizes. So I do go live for 30 minutes one night. That live should look just like a home party. So if you've never done a home party, what would it look like? Our kind of training from our home office is to use what they call the WOW method. So we welcome, we offer solutions, and we wrap up. And so in my live, I introduce myself, give my elevator speech, plant all those seeds. Then I offer solutions. I do a post before I go live asking, and I'm also going to ask people that have messaged me, asking if there's anything they'd like to see. So of course I show them anything they've asked to see, but that's my opportunity. It's actually in this room. The closet behind me is full of my 31. So I just pull it all out and show them all the things. And then I wrap it up by reminding them how to order. So make sure you're asking a question with every post in those evening posts, because we want them interacting and they want their points. I knew I was talking about it soon. So party points, I put a ... because, and hopefully my head, I think you can move my head if it's in the way on your screen. But the points I give, and I don't think it shows here, but the points I give are for commenting, for PMing me their hostess's name, and I'll show you when I ask them to do that in a minute, posting a picture of their own 31 product, placing an order, using customer rewards, rounding up for gives, and booking a party and joining. So it's pretty small, especially if you're on an iPad or something, but what you may be able to see here is where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are my posts. So I have a total of 20 posts, and I literally do go through and give them a point for every post that they comment on. And then this one, number 7, is the only one they can get multiple points. That's the ask me anything about my business post. So that's the one that they can get multiple points for. I post this update. This is a Google spreadsheet. So that's where I keep it all, is on a Google spreadsheet. I post this 3 different times during the party. And every time I post it, I tag the people that are participating. So, like I said, I had 74 people in my group. Maybe only 50 were participating, but they all just got tagged and they all just went, "Ooh, I can play." And so those that are up here towards the top, especially, they go in and start commenting like crazy, which sends all my posts back to the top of everybody's news feeds and just does amazing things for the interaction. So I know it's a pain in the butt, but if you're only partying 1, maybe 2 times a month, it's worth it. I promise. I promise. And then the other thing to do is reply to every single comment. Think about if you were doing this at a house. If somebody said to you, if you were like, "Oh, this is," I think we have lots of nail people, like, "Don't you just love my nails?" And they said, "Oh, yes, I have the same ones. I wore them to a party last week." You're not going to just walk away. You're going to ask them about their party, right? The whole idea is that you are having conversations with these people. Conversations are two-way. So make sure every time somebody comments that you follow up. And if you can follow up with a question, even better, because then they're going to answer the question. And first of all, you're building a relationship and not being a jerk, but it's also helping your algorithms. So make sure that every single comment, every single time you can, ask a question, that you are chatting. Okay, now the good stuff. So whether you use my framework or your own framework, you have to really think through your posts that you have been specific with the hostess's name, and how are you going to convert them, and what are you going to do to change this from change it from a single hostess party to a multi-hostess party. So the 3 things that I had to come up with changes for were the title and the description, how I share the shopping links, and I've been through a couple of iterations of this, and I'll tell you what I've tried and why this one's the best, and then the thank you posts. So I would not say I'm the most creative person on earth. So you can see my February party. That's how I name all of them. February shopping social. January was called January shopping social. December was called December shopping social. I do this for a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm not super creative. Second of all, I use the member lists from these groups as my list of 62. So I know that I'm currently asking all of the guests in my December party if they want to host a party. So I just go to my December party, really easy to, search in Facebook, go to my December party, open the member list, and start asking. So no name, right? So if you used to say Mandy's February shopping social, take the name out of it, just call it a shopping social. And then the description might be small on your page, so I'll read it. The way that I changed it is in the second paragraph here. I say this is the party group for 31 Facebook parties, February 9th through the 12th, with consultant Erin Byrge. That's it. This is a block party with multiple hostesses. It is a great place to get and share ideas on how to use 31 products for organization and more. We will have a ton of fun, and a few of you will win some prizes. So again, you may have previously said the hostess's name in the description. Leave it out. Tell people that they're getting into a multiple hostess party, and then, whatever other information you can. So that's how I solved the title and description. The biggest one for me was shopping links. Somebody told me early on that every single post should include the shopping link. And I did that and it worked. So I was super afraid to take that away. So my first solution was on my webpage, there's a page called My Parties. So I would send them to that page on my 31 website, and then they would have to choose their hostess and click shop now under their hostess. which for those of us in the biz, sounds like that's an easy thing to do. I can't tell you how many people screwed it up. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. And not necessarily people choosing the wrong hostess, people not choosing any hostess. Like, how did you miss? But they missed. So this is the what I decided to do. And the unintended consequence has been the best thing I've done for relationship building. So instead of putting the links in the party, there's no link anywhere in any of my parties. They have to ask me for it. And so this is my announcement post. Remember, I said there's a post in my group before anybody ever joins it, and it's called Check In to Win, and it's a poll. So what the wording is here, and you're welcome to screenshot, is help your hostess earn a bonus prize. That's why they're there, right? They're there to support their hostess, so they want to do that. So they're going to check in to win and help their hostess earn a bonus prize. The way that they have to do that is click next to your hostess's name below. If she gets to 20, she will get an additional gift from me. So I will tell you, this girl, Jessica, she got to 31 votes. Like, nobody does. Most people, like, maxing out at 16 is much more normal. So I don't have to buy a lot of extra presents, but it does help with the competition a little bit. And I do tell my hostesses that 20 is their ultimate goal. So that is the first thing they need to do is click next to their hostess's name in the poll. And then the second step is to send me a personal message with her name. So if you know anything about Facebook Messenger, you know if you send somebody a message and you're not friends with them, it goes into the great abyss and they never see it. Or they do see it and they don't have to let you know that they saw it, so they pretend they never saw it. Well, if they message you first, oh, the messenger gods open the door and you get to talk to these people. So all I've done is say, hey, shoot me your hostess's name. Easy peasy, right? So they send me, in this case, Jessica Monroe. That's all it says. So when I respond, I don't send the link right away. Instead, I say, hi, so-and-so, let me grab her link for you. How do you know Jessica? Just like I would if I was welcoming them into Jessica's house. I want to know how they know Jessica. And that usually it's from work or they're a family member, whatever it is that they respond, you know, I've got a follow-up question and I'm going to have that conversation as long as I can. And then I finally give them the shopping link. And the shopping link is now in their messages to easily grab that information. So this hopefully happens on day one. I'll tell you, I got people on Friday going, how do I get that link? But for the people that are in it for the party and for the relationship building, I'm able to be chatting with them throughout the week. Like I said, it was an unintended consequence, but it's definitely the best thing that's happened for my business. So that's how I handled the shopping links issue. And then the last one was the thank you posts. So instead of doing individual thank you posts for every single order, I create one of these just using on Canva. You can put your Bitmoji in. So I make one of these for every single hostess. And then I just put in the comments. Every time somebody orders, I thank and tag. I of course, coach my hostess to also thank and say, you know, what'd you get, so that they can have the whole conversation. So those were the three things that I had to convert from my party script. I would love if you have anything from your script that you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how I would convert that. I'd love to chat about that when we get to the end, which I promise we're almost there. So the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is building relationships. So that is one thing that I have seen such a growth with, partly because of that post, but also because there is so much action in my mega parties. There's more people willing to participate. And if you think about it, like if I had 7 hostesses and each of them only has 1 or 2 friends that participate, if they're by themselves in a party, then there's 3 people participating, right? The hostess and her 2 friends. But now I've got 7 hostesses and each of their 2 friends. There's so many people interacting and they're talking to each other. They don't know who knows who and they don't even care, but it helps. They feel like they're part of a community. So the building relationships part of it has become so much easier since I started mega parties. So the first group of people, I should say, that I'm building relationships with is my hostesses, and I am always thinking of them as my future team members. So I still send a hostess packet. If you do Facebook parties and you're not sending a hostess packet, I think you're missing the boat. People love to touch something. And so sending them a catalog to flip through, sending them flyers, I use little post-it notes, and you can print on post-it notes. If you Google that, it's on Pinterest, I think. But you can print post-it notes like in your printer. I've pre-printed post-it notes. I stick them on, send 7 to 10 out in the mail all at once, and they all have something to touch. I send it about 2 weeks before my party so they have time to flip through. The week before the party, I ask them for their wish list because nothing is more exciting than daydreaming about getting everything they want for free. If you sent them the hostess packet, put in a place for them to write it down, right? So they're writing down their wish list, and you're telling them, awesome, we need to have a $700 party for you to get that all for free, or $1,000 party to get that all for free. So get their wish list. That will help get them excited. Give them daily challenges. So I start talking to my hostesses a week before their party. And the first few days, of course, is getting them inviting and posting on their Facebook wall and all of that good stuff. And then the day before the party, I start giving them daily challenges. And I'm real upfront with them. I say the people that do these challenges will have anywhere from a $600 to $1,300 party. People that don't. And their first challenge is to find their VIP guests. I say, hey, think of your 2 ride or die friends that would do anything for you, and message them and say, hey, I'm not asking you to buy anything. I'm just asking you to comment on every single post. That's going to help you win a prize. It's going to help me get free stuff. Of course, you can shop too, but make sure you ask them personally and let them know that they're doing it to help you out. Then the next day, I remind them to set an alarm so that you're remembering to go in and comment on every single post. The next day, I ask them to post a picture of them using a product. And it's things like that every single day throughout the entire party. Most of the time, if it's a hostess that really is into the party, this message that I send out, it's a copy and paste. I use it every single time, but they respond and we chuckle about it and we're talking back and forth. So they're hearing from me every single day for 1 week before the party and during the party. We're BFFs for like 2 weeks. Of course, we've built a relationship. And then when the party's over, I tell them how much money I made on their party. Wouldn't they have liked to make that? And often it's a few days of silence because hopefully they're actually thinking about it. I was somebody, like I said, I was skeptical. They would have had to ask me a million times, but my fundraiser, I decided to join. So you definitely want to make sure that you are tied at the hip with them. And even if you have 7 to 10 of them, I had to laugh when Sherry asked me when I wanted to do this training. Well, last week was my party week. So not last week, because I was having conversations with 7 hostesses and all of their guests. So it is a very busy week, but it's worth it. So now let's talk about how you're going to build relationships with your guests. These are your future team members and hostesses. So when they message you at the very beginning of the party to get their hostess's link, take advantage of that opportunity. Don't just send them the link and be done. Get to know them, ask them as many questions as they'll answer, try and find commonalities, things you can laugh about, all of that good stuff. Like I said, reply to every single comment during the party. Those that have messaged me I will always message them on the day that I'm going live as more of a kind of customer service where I will say, hey, I'm going live tonight. I'm thinking about 8:30. Is there anything you'd want to see? Not asking them to buy anything, not asking them anything else. I'm just offering up the opportunity to request something and obviously have as much of a conversation as I can around that. And then on the last day, everybody that has messaged me, I send them a friendly reminder. Hey, today's the last day. And I do keep a list so I'll just keep a, scratch pad of all of my hostesses' names across the top. And then when somebody messages me their name, I write their name underneath their hostess. So if Sandra was one of my hostesses, I would start with all of her guests that I've written down and message every single one of them so I can use Sandra's name in the message. Hey, just a friendly reminder, today's the last day of Sandra's party if you wanted to put an order in. Also take the time to make sure you check when somebody orders so you're not reminding somebody that's already ordered. But again, just another customer service type of conversation that you can have. And then message those that ordered when their order ships. Hopefully your company has some sort of notification for you so that you can say, how excited you are that their order is on the way. And then again, when it arrives, you're touching base just to make sure that they love it and everything arrived as expected. And then this is the big one. This is how I have kept 7 to 10 hostesses in every mega party for 4 years. I go back to past parties. I'm a little bit behind right now. I'm still in December, but a month later, and I ask every single person if they will be in on my next mega party, unless they booked during the dice game, of course. If they're already booked, I don't ask them again. But every single person, whether they messaged me, ordered, no matter what, every person that joined that group is going to hear from me in about a month to see if they are ready to be part of my next mega party. And that's how the ball continues to roll. What questions do you have? Let me stop screen sharing here. Stop share. And feel free to unmute.
Well, hey, while we're waiting for them to jump in with any questions or comments, I just wanted to tell you guys to make sure you're going to get the recording. So make sure that you are listening to this many times, because you didn't talk super fast, Erin, which I really appreciate. You were very, calm, but you shared so much information that I just know we'll miss pieces if we don't listen to this more than once. But I also loved that you're not just selling at your mega parties, you're booking, selling, and recruiting very intentionally. And I have felt for so many years that is the miss with Facebook parties, is that we just sell. We don't do the things like we do at in-home parties to really raise that interest level. And you did a fabulous job of that. So I hope you guys took note of that. Amanda's Dice Game, it's on my website, so you could get it there. I do have it there.
I was pretty sure it was.
Elevator speech. That's a term that everybody may not be familiar with. Do you want to tell them what that is?
Oh gosh, did I age myself with that?
I love that too. So. Or why?
Yeah, I think by definition, an elevator speech is 30 seconds, and it's your best pitch, right? So for me, my elevator speech, because building my team is my number one priority, that's always been, because I know that's where the residual income comes from. So my elevator speech is about, why I joined and what it's done for me. So, but 30 seconds is, I think, technically. Now in a Facebook party, I can tell you it definitely takes me longer than 30 seconds to tell it. But I think maybe somebody might have also described it as your why, why you joined and all of that.
But that's selling the business opportunity by sharing your story, right?
Correct.
Okay. Somebody asked, how long is the live night?
So I go live for 31 minutes, again, because I sell for 31, but a half an hour is what I would be aiming for. And I feel like, when when I very first started, I was petrified of home parties, which is honestly why I haven't done many. Now nobody does them, right? But then I was kind of scared to death of them. You put me in front of teenagers all day, I'm fine, but adults, craziness. And somebody had said like 20 minutes is all you should have a 20-minute home party presentation. Whoever said that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine I'd be able to say enough in 20 minutes. So like 30 minutes is kind of, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, you're doing a little bit of the, waiting for people to come on. And as people are coming on, you're welcoming them. So it's not a succinct, here's where it starts, here's where it ends. So honestly, by the time you take all of that out, it probably is a 20-minute, similar to your home party. And that's what I try to I try to make my Facebook party as similar to home party as possible, because the few home parties I've had, what I've experienced is the back and forth conversation is where people giggle and have a good time and feel part of a community. And hearing what other people are buying and what they're using it for always increases sales. So how do you do that in a party? You have your hostess say, what did you get? What are you going to use it for? I ask questions about what are your needs? What kind of solutions can I offer? And then have conversations with people. So whether it's in the live where you're presenting so they can see, or if it's in the conversations going on the posts, make it like a home party as much as you can.
Okay. Love the spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets. I love that. I love that people
I taught math and chemistry, so.
People say yes on Friday. I've never heard that before, so that was awesome. And so we've got some questions here. I know Denise, you've got your hand up. Do you want to unmute and ask your question?
I think Kimmy's unmuted.
Okay.
Did you say me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have a product. I am a service, and because of COVID, I now have to be virtual, and so I'm a KonMari method certified consultant, and we have to do consulting for 3 hours minimum. And so I was kind of thinking about possibly offering 3-hour decluttering sessions where we hit one area. Do you think that what you do would be able to maybe work?
As a mega party? I guess my first question is, are you allowed to do 1 hour with 3 people? Does that count as 3 hours?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because in that case, a mega party is definitely the way to go. Get as many people in there as you can, and you don't have to.
We can't, actually we can't, because each person is a separate client. So as I log it in, that would only be 1 hour for that client, which wouldn't count. So I was thinking if we, like, hey, we're gonna do 3-hour session of say clothing, and we're all gonna like start the timer, and if you have questions, I'm here, come ask me. We're gonna pre-prep maybe a area with the clothing that needs to be gone through. And
yeah, I think totally not mega party related, but I think if I was in that situation, I would probably do like I do work sessions with my team. And that's kind of what that reminds me of, like where maybe you're on Zoom and everybody's working on the same thing, so you're available. That's kind of what that reminded me of.
Okay, well, I do direct marketing too, so I definitely can apply it towards these other areas. And then maybe as I get comfortable, I'd be able to figure out a way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Denise, do you want to unmute? I know you raised your hand.
Yes, I do have a question about hostess coaching. I was wondering if, are you doing hostess coaching, all of them together in like a private message group? You putting all your hostess together, or are you doing individual private messages?
So the answer to that question is I've tried both. And when I had them all together, and I did it as a group, like a Facebook group, not a group message, but I was not building the relationship with them. I was missing the banter and the, the one girl that's like, oh, get off my case, ha ha ha, and the other one that's very regimented that needed the so I stopped doing it as a group. I actually probably only did 2 months worth of a group. At the time I was doing 2 parties per month, so like 4 parties worth of hostesses, before I realized I was really missing that important component. And like I said, those are my future team members, and so I need to be able to build that individual relationship with them. So it is individually on Facebook Messenger. Like I said, the original message I send in like the mornings of those 2 weeks is a copy and paste. It's the conversation that comes from that copy and paste that is where I'm able to build relationships with them.
Somebody else asked, Erin, have you ever announced a party publicly with no host to find potential clients?
Say that again?
Have you ever announced a party publicly? I'm guessing they mean a mega party where everybody can just, like, guests can just jump on to.
No, I've never done that. I always have hostesses.
Is that poll just a Facebook poll, or did you use something to create it?
It is just a Facebook poll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a main thank you post and then post each host's graphic in the comments?
No, each host gets their own post. So like that picture that I had that said, thank you for shopping in Mandy's link. There's another one that says, thank you for shopping in, Jessica's link. Thank you for shopping. So each of those are an individual post. And then the comment under the post is where I would thank the individual person. Hope that's making sense.
So that would be like 7 posts?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever have your hostess text everyone the party link? I think I know the answer.
I tell them, no, well, not the shopping link, the Facebook link, yes. So the instructions are, I have them on day 1, go ahead and use the invite button. I didn't used to let them do that, but when Facebook changed it so that they have to actually click join, I went ahead and told my hostesses to go ahead and use the invite button. So step 1 is to use the invite button. Step 2 is to reach out individually to your 25 favorite friends and reach out to them however you normally talk to them. So if you text them, text them. If you call them, whatever. So, but no, I want the shopping link to come from me because I want to talk to these people. Of course people are going to figure it out and just shop. Like, P.S. that'd be me. I'd be like, leave me alone, lady, just let me shop. But I'm not looking to join any other company. So I definitely want the opportunity to build a relationship with them. So I want them asking me for it.
Okay. Can you share more about the evening interactive posts that you do?
Oh, so those are totally like 31 products. So we have categories, right? Like, so purses will be my first one, wallets my second one, totes is my third one. So like those would be your company specific kind of posts. And then so the question would be, for purses, are you a big purse person or a small purse person? And so I still try to ask questions around it. But yeah, those are straight up 31 product posts.
Gotcha. So be creative, right? With your own products.
Yeah.
Have you used the rooms to help with the lag of Facebook Lives?
I have not used rooms. I use them with my team a bit. The thing that I don't like about rooms that I think they've recently changed is that they go away, because a live lives forever in the group, right? And if they're like this last month, there were 74 people in the group. I don't know, 3 showed up on the live night, and I don't even care, right? Because they'll see it. I try to go live on Wednesdays, so it's still there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for people to watch. The rooms don't stay. So if they're not there when it's happening, they never see it. That's why I don't use rooms.
Okay, the last question I see for you, Erin, is how do you get, oh, another one just popped on. How do you get the hostess's emoji onto your Canva?
Oh, the Bitmoji? That's me. That's my Bitmoji.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. If you just do one mega party a month, how do you handle your new consultant launch parties? Do you do that?
Oh, friend. So this is the glory. I'm done with my personal volume. Today is what, the 15th, 16th? I'm done with my personal business for the month. That means I've got the rest of this month to love on my team, which includes helping people promote, helping new consultants launch, helping new consultants qualify. I get to spend the whole rest of the month loving on my team. So yes, I do launch parties for my team. And they're individual, which is annoying.
I'm sorry. That is what really got me excited to talk with you, is when Martine said, so she does all of her parties in 1 week. I didn't even know it was a mega party. She just said she does all of her parties in 1 week. So in my head, that's, 8 parties in 1 week or something. And the rest of the month is dedicated to her team. And I just thought that's something that we've got to hear. So
yeah,
that was really what got me so excited to talk with you.
Yeah, well, because honestly, the reason I have been successful in building my team and promoting leaders is it started with a relationship, mostly on Facebook Messenger, love technology, and that can't go away once they join my team. I can't be like, thanks for joining, have a nice life. So my family, my team, pretty much everybody knows the second week of the month, I'm kind of cray-cray because I'm talking to 74 new people, but the whole rest of the month, they get me way more than they would have if I was still trying to take care of my own volume. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Would you do a mega party, new consultant launch party?
I wouldn't, only because I think that it is so important for them to connect with their people individually. And I want them to learn to do that from the first party. Now, that said, in a month that your company is doing, I don't know, dollar enrollments or free, whatever, and you get 1 million people join your team, and that's such a terrible problem to have, right? Then maybe I might do a mega party just because there's so many for myself, for sanity. But if there's an opportunity to do them individually, I just think it'll set your new consultant up much better. But if they get 2 or 3 hostesses from their launch party, their next party could very well be a mega party, and they could start off like that from day one.
Could you add a new team member to the next mega party and use that as her launch party?
I think it would be confusing. I mean, could you? Yes. I think it would be confusing for myself because my number one goal of that party is to make relationships with those people. And now I got to keep track of like, ooh, but I don't want to get too cozy with this group of people because I want them to love on their consultant, not with me. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying I never would, but I think that it would confuse me.
No, I get that. What is your best advice for onboarding stylists as your team is getting bigger? I have 130 ladies and now it's getting overwhelming and I'm losing that connection.
So when I brought in, because I've definitely had times in the 4 years that I've brought in large quantities at a time, you've got to decide where, who's really in it, who came in to sell and make a go of it, and who came in as a discount shopper or, a hobbyist, and kind of, get real with yourself and them about prioritizing the best bang for your buck, because you're not going to want to spend half of your, team time with somebody who's actually just a discount shopper. So not that people can't change their mind, but when you have that many coming in all at once, it's definitely, and then maybe in that case, if you've got a group that is, intending to just take advantage of the discount, then maybe you do throw that kind of group into a mega party. And then those that are trying to build it as a business and want to have their own parties later, then you do an onboarding, and a launch of just them and their friends in that group. But yeah, I mean, definitely when you're bringing in a lot at a time, prioritizing and being real with yourself is tough choices, but you got to do it.
Yeah, and I would just piggyback on that and say, you know, you should really only be working with your personal team, those people that are not under another leader, and to Erin's point, that the people that are working, but you train everybody, you know, as a leader, but you work with the people that are the implementers. Train the masses, work with the implementers, but your leaders should be working with their teams. So that's where the personal relationship comes in. Those leaders work with them, because if you have 1,000 people on your team, you know, you don't want to do for small what you can't do for big. And so you don't want to set that kind of precedent that you have this personal relationship with everybody in your organization. Okay, last question, and then we have to go. Do you ever go back into old groups and post specials or incentives?
Yes, and I'm actually going to, I saw Denise's question pop up, how long I leave them open. So I leave them open forever for that purpose. I will go back in to, as long as my patience level will take, back into previous and post things like when we have an outlet sale. I'll go in and post outlet sale, you know, things coming up. If we have a $1 enrollment, I'll go back in and post in those groups. So yes, I do go back. Of course, I hope they all join my VIP group because they all love spending time with me. But if I catch one or two that didn't join my VIP group with those, then yeah, I do go back to past. And that's another reason why I just name it by the month, because then I don't have to figure out which is what month.
Yeah. So, you know, with the number of parties you're holding in your mega parties every month, Erin, you've got to have just a pretty immense VIP group. And that's one of the things that I like to share with people is you got to build that VIP group. So if you're going to be trying to get bookings from that, because otherwise you're just dipping into the same well all the time for your bookings, your sales, and the recruits. So if you're using your VIP group for that purpose, you know, this is another great benefit of this, is that you've got this constant influx of new people in your VIP group. So I just think there's so many good things that can come from this. And is there anything, we're out of time, is there anything that you want to throw in before we let them go?
No, I appreciate being able to share tonight. It's so fun. I mean, try it. Use your framework, use my framework, whatever it is, but definitely try to do it. You will love it.
I loved it. I thought you were so detailed and awesome. And I mean, if you read through the comments, it's like, this is genius. I love it. So everybody really appreciated you tonight. And there's a lot of other folks that are going to be listening to the replay. So I'm sure we'll see even more comments. But Erin, I can't thank you enough. This was really, really amazing. And so thank you. And thanks to all of you guys that were here with us live tonight, and everybody else that's going to be catching the replay. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.